Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it's time for current events in the online fitness community, and these never fail to entertain. Let me get a sip of my water, which is ironic, given the topic of this video. All right, once again, Cali Muscle has managed to say something so ridiculous and make such an absurd claim that even I am taken aback. And at first I thought the person who told me this was kidding. It came up in my comments. Like, Jason, Cali Muscle is now saying that drinking water is bad. And I'm like, you have to be trolling me. There is no way. There is no way this is possible. Okay, and I know he's said some crazy stuff lately, and I get it. Maybe he's just trying to get publicity. We've all made that mistake in the past, but I had to go check. Sure enough, in a video, he is claiming that drinking water is bad. And he goes and shows this bottle of bottled water. Now, I've heard many arguments over the years by many fitness influencers about bottled water versus tap water. There's all sorts of arguments and discussions to be made there. Okay? I personally, generally, I always keep some bottled water for emergencies. It's good to have, but I generally drink tap water that I run through a filter. That's what I personally choose to do. That's what I drink. That's what I'm most comfortable with in terms of just safety, water quality, things like that. I'm not going to tell anyone else what they need to do. People want to argue about, bottled water isn't regulated, tap water is. Some people, tap water is terrible. It has this and that in it. Other people, the bottled water has all sorts of environmental toxins and BPCs. Like, there are arguments people make in all directions. You know what? I think the whole thing is a confusing mess, and at the end of the day, you need to drink water somehow. Figure it out. I'm not going to give you advice. All I'm going to say is this is what I choose to do. I think it's a good idea. But you do what you need to do. All right? I'm not going to tell anybody else how to go about drinking your water, because there's a point to where we just get idiotic. Okay? We can get done with it at that point. Do whatever makes you happy. Just get your water in. But Cali, of all things, gets up and says, I used to drink this bottled water and I used to get bloated all the time. No, Cali, because it wasn't the 3 grams of gear you were using. He always likes to admit that he used a ton of gear while lying about it and attacking anyone who used to claim he wasn't natty. And it was very obvious that his physique was unobtainable on low doses. That's a high dose gear user. Just own it. But then he blames everything else for all the roid side effects. He blames chicken breast and sugar for his heart attacks. He's now going to blame water for the sodium retention. Right? Because the amount of sodium in there. And he zooms in on this bottle. How much is in there? It's 5 milligrams per servings. I didn't look to see how many servings are in the bottle. Let's assume it's 10. I could be wrong. It could have been 100. It could have been 5,000. It could be 1. Let's just call it 10. 5 milligrams of sodium. That's only 50 milligrams total if it's 10 servings. For the unaware, I'm not going to assume that everyone watching this video knows these things. Right? Different people have different levels of nutrition and biology education. Okay? I'm not going to be presumptuous. Can excessive sodium be associated with high blood pressure, with water retention, things like that? Yes. However, sodium deficiency is associated with dying. People say, what? Okay. If you are unaware, if your sodium goes too low, you can start getting muscle cramps, your heart can stop beating, your brain can swell. We have to have sodium to live, okay? Yes, there are health concerns, particularly in the U.S., where we eat so much refined food with excessive sodium, and particularly excessive sodium to potassium ratios. This is a cause for concern. Not for everyone. There are people who are resistant to those side effects, genetically, by the way. Just an FYI, there's a percentage of people who their blood pressure doesn't go up from sodium. They don't retain water. We also know that the ratios of sodium to potassium are probably more important than the total amount of sodium for this stuff, right? This is what the larger body of science is saying. However, the amount of sodium in that bottle of water is not enough to stay alive. Okay? I want to be clear. If you went weeks on end only consuming 50 milligrams of sodium a day and that's all that you had, no more, you would die. Hopefully people are aware of that. So again, let's be clear. The sodium in this bottle of water that he is concerned about, enough to tell you not to drink it, the amount in that bottle is less than you need to survive and maintain proper health. It's below the minimum, okay? Because we have a minimum, we have an amount we need for basic health. We have certain amounts that are useful for a lot of beneficial things, right? We have an optimal range, and some of that for athletic performance can be a little higher. And then you have quantities that can become problematic for health, for water retention. And this stuff is going to vary from person to person. It's also going to depend upon the composition of your diet, the amount of potassium you consume with it. But the amount in this water bottle that he is discussing is such a trivial amount, you almost wouldn't think about it in terms of your intake, meaning it's almost not worth knowing about. It is so low. Again, I want to be clear, this 5 milligrams per serving, ultra low. There are cardiologists who are telling people that, you shouldn't really go under 1,500 or 1,000. Different ones will tell you that. Anything under 500 a day is considered dangerous. All right, we need to be clear. Anything under 500 milligrams of sodium a day is potentially dangerous. Okay, your heart could literally stop beating as a result of it. You can have beat problems, all sorts of intense muscle cramping, right? Brain fog. It's dangerous. So the 50 milligrams is less than 500. Okay? You could not drink enough of that water in a day to get your minimum needs of sodium. Yet, Chuck Basher is going to tell people not to consume it. Again, absurdity. There's a point where you look at this and go, anybody who is following this person with the craziness and the nonsense like this, I don't know what to tell you. If you are legitimately following this person for workout, fitness, nutrition advice, you are in trouble. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.